Let us start with Nagios. So what is Nagios? Nagios is an open source tool for system monitoring. Okay, so it would help you in doing or monitoring the systems, right? So what Nagios will try to do is it will try to basically check whether your servers or other devices on your network are working correctly or not, or working properly or not. Okay, if they are not working properly, we can take the help of Nagios, right, to basically do the notification part. Okay, so to try to tell that, okay, this server is not working, and it sends an email across to the admin team or whatever team is responsible for ensuring that the application is, or whatever device is not working. So this is what Nagios is all about. So basically it monitors system. Okay, right, and the main purpose of system monitoring is to detect if any system is not working as intended, okay, or properly, okay, and notify the appropriate staff to resolve the error as early as possible. Okay, so resolution could be restarting the server, cleaning up the disk, or whatever it is. Okay, now whenever we basically use any system monitoring tool, this is the basic agenda for us. Okay, now to do this, what Nagios tries to do, what Nagios tries to, or what is the terminology of Nagios which we try to understand. So system monitoring in Nagios is split into two major categories of objects. The first one, which Nagios calls is hosts. The second one, which Nagios calls is services. The second one, which Nagios calls is services. So let me try to give a simple example. Okay, let us assume that, okay, we have sorry, we have a server. Okay, and this server is let me put two servers. Okay, we have these two servers, and then on these two servers, okay, one is Ubuntu. Okay, so this is a Linux machine. The other one is Windows server. Okay, so on this server, what we basically run is we run uh, some Tomcat application. Okay, and on this Tomcat, your application is basically hosted. Okay, so this is your app server, and now this I would call it as DB server, and on this some SQL server is running. Microsoft SQL server. Okay, so we have two machines. Okay, app server and DB server, and in this app server, okay, in one server Tomcat is running, and other server basically Microsoft SQL server is running. Simple. What Nagios tries to tell us, okay, okay, Nagios tries to convey that this is host, okay, and this is your service. This is your service. Okay, so this is my service, and whatever is enclosed in this blue stuff is basically my host. Okay, so let me try to take the image of it, save it. Right. So if you basically want to understand what does host represent now, hosts represent a physical or virtual device on your network. Okay, so that is typically your system. Okay, so services are particular functionalities, okay, on hosts. Okay, so here you might have, okay, so this is, here the example is app server 1.lt.com server name, okay, network switch 1, okay, or some IP address 192.168.0.11, something else. But when it comes to services, services could be SSH, okay, services could be Tomcat, services could be SQL server, right, etc. So services run on hosts. Am I clear on this convention? Okay, right, host and services. Host is basically the machine, and service is basically your functionality or application, whatever is running on your server, right? If you have a DB server, the virtual machine on which you are running database is basically a host, and the database software like Postgres, MySQL, or whatever database which you are trying to run is something which I would rather call it as service. Is there any confusion in these two now? Okay, good, good. Right. Now, basically, right, hosts can be grouped as host groups, right? So if you, in generally, when we work in an IT organization, we'll not have one database server, we'll have many database servers. So what Nagios tries to tell is, okay, so let me remove this stuff. Okay, so I might have many database servers. Okay, right, depending on what you're trying to do. I might have some application servers, right? So I might have some FTP servers. You might have many different things what it is. So what Nagios tries to tell us, it tries to create, okay, let me use a different color over here. Okay, it tries to create something called as host group. Okay, so you can give name to a host group. Okay, the name of that host group would be app server group. Okay, because these servers will have similar checks to be performed, and in the same way you might possibly group them, okay, by giving a different name to this host group. Okay, call it as, okay, DB server group. Okay, so it is not necessary that a host has to be present in only one group. It might be present in a different, if a single host might be present in multiple groups also, right? So generally you can group your hosts, right? So just for the convenience, what I would be calling it as, I'll be calling it as application 1, application 2, okay, DB server 1, DB server 2, and DB server 3. Here app server 1 and app server 2. Am I clear on this? So you can group your hosts as host groups. This is a logical grouping, okay, for your convenience. So saying that application servers are failing. Generally for application servers, we'll have similar kinds of uh, checks which we want to do. So that is where we basically group, okay, your hosts as host groups. I have defined 3 terms so far: host, service, and host group. Okay, so let me save this. Okay, so now, okay, so Nagios, okay, checks will result in 4 distinct states. So you'll have 4 states for every check which you will perform. You will have a okay state, everything is going good. Warning, nothing has failed now, but they might fail very soon. Critical, something has seriously gone wrong. And then there is a state called as unknown. Unknown means, okay, so I'm unable to determine the state of your application, right? I'm unknown, basically right now I am unable to determine the state of the application, yeah, okay, right. So whenever we work with Nagios, we get this traffic signal kind of annotation. Okay, so where basically OK is shown in green, warning is shown in yellow, critical is shown as red. Okay, and undetermined state is basically you are unable to know because something is not working, right? So Nagios performs all of its checks using plugins. Okay, so Nagios has this concept called as plugins. Okay, so it performs all of its checks using these plugins. These plugins are the ones which will try to tell you whether the stuff in your hosts or services is working correctly or not. So then what are plugins? Plugins are external components, okay, which Nagios passes information, information on what should be checked and what should be checked and what limits are. So in Nagios, all of your checks, right, whether the server is alive or dead, whether the FTP server is responding or not, all of these are basically done by a component which is called as plugin. The name of that component is called as plugin. Okay, so basically the responsibility of this plugin component is the plugins are responsible for performing the checks and analyzing the results. The results. Okay, see the output, okay, from checks of Nagios is status. Okay, and in status we have okay, warning, critical, and unknown. Okay, so let me go back to this image. If I want to know whether the app server is working or not, I need to do some kind of check. To do this kind of a check, Nagios cannot do the check directly. It will try to rely on something called as plugins. Okay, these plugins, to these plugins, Nagios will tell what has to be checked, okay, and what the limits are. Okay, when you should call it as warning, when you should call as critical, when you should call it as okay. So Nagios will try to define those limits, and these plugins will do those checks and return back status to Nagios, and this status will be shown to you all. This status is shown to you all. Am I clear on this? So Nagios, to perform any kinds of checks, it relies on something called as plugins. It relies on concept called as plugins. Okay, so when we install Nagios, right, Nagios comes with set of standard plugins. Okay, so in most of the cases, whatever standard plugins that Nagios comes up with is more than enough. Okay, right. So now it will try to basically give you all the other stuffs, right? Okay, and if you basically don't, if you want to do some particular check where there is no particular plugin from Nagios, if you need to perform a specific check, okay, it is easy to write your own plugins, and the best part is in any programming language which you want, So if you want to do very specific check, okay, and Nagios doesn't know how to check that, so what you can do is you can write your own plugins. Am I clear on this? Right? So what does Nagios use to perform the checks? It uses plugins to perform the checks. When you install Nagios, you get plugins. But if you want to do something very specific, customized for your organization, you can write your own plugins. Okay, and Nagios can speak with that plugins to do the kinds of checks which you want. Am I clear on this? Okay, right? So basically, right, whenever we are trying to define or do the checks in Nagios, we need to know, okay, information about plugin and information about limits. See, limits are very simple. Okay, so let us assume that I want to do a ping test. I want to see whether the server is working or not. Okay, if my ping is responding within 40 milliseconds, something like this. Okay, I do the ping, and if the basic stuff is, for example, if I go to CMD and if I say ping google.com, okay, sorry, saying basically it is trying to tell that your average minimum time is 13 milliseconds and maximum time for responding for Google server is 28 milliseconds and average is 25 milliseconds. So if the average response time is 45 milliseconds, less than 45 milliseconds, then it is okay for me. Okay, If the average response time is okay greater than 40, okay, I'm just writing some ad hoc stuff, greater than 40, and if it takes 100 milliseconds, I would basically call it as warning. Okay, if it takes anything greater than 1000 milliseconds or failure, I will call it as critical. So whenever we are basically doing checks, we need to tell these kind of stuffs, these kind of checks. Okay, so is plugin a software program? Yes, it is a software program. Plugin is a software program which Nagios calls, right? But that program has to work very specifically like how Nagios understand it. Nagios understand it. Okay, right. And now Nagios basically, right? So there is one question saying that what is unknown state? See, unknown state is you are calling the plugin, but plugin is unable to tell you, okay, for some reason it is not responding. It could be plugin is not working or whatever it is the reason. Nagios is not able to tell okay or warning or critical, okay, because you have called the ping test and you didn't got any results. You didn't got any results. That is basically when your plugin is not responding. That is something which is unknown state. Okay, right. So basically when we work with Nagios, okay, so we have to configure how to monitor network infrastructure and all of that stuff, and whom to react, right? So for all of this, what Nagios tries to tell is, okay, Nagios, okay, is based on clear object definition system. Okay, so whenever you want to use Nagios, you have to define your objects very clearly. Okay, so and to define this, we need to understand what are the different types of objects. So let's see the different types of objects in Nagios. Okay, the first object in Nagios is something which we call as command. The second object in Nagios is time periods. The third object which we have already spoken about is host and host groups. The fourth object which I want to speak about is services. Okay, and then I would be speaking about contact and contact groups. Okay, then we will have notifications. Okay, and then we would have escalations, right? So these are the major object types which we need to understand when we are working with Nagios. Okay, right. So we need to understand what commands are, what time periods are, what hosts and host groups are, what are services, what are contact and contact groups, right? What are notifications and what are escalations. Okay, so now commands. So commands are definitions of how Nagios should perform types of checks. So if you remember just now, I said that in Nagios, checks are basically done by plugins, but we don't directly speak with plugins. We write something called as commands. So they are abstraction layer on top of actual plugins, okay, that perform the checks. So basically Nagios plugins perform the checks, but we if you want to speak with plugins, we don't directly speak with plugins. We basically build something called as, right, definitions, and these definitions are something which we call as commands. So in this commands, we will try to tell what will be your critical state, what would be your warning state, what would be the different type of states, and what is the plugin which you are going to use. So Generally, when you work with Nagios, in most of the cases, in 99% of the times, you work with commands, not directly with plugins. And in commands, you would try to tell which plugin you need to use. Am I clear on this? So the first thing which we need to write is commands. So in Nagios, if you have to check the server, if it is alive or dead, you would write a command, not really a plugin. Okay, or you would use a command, not really a plugin. And this command will basically call the plugin. Now the next thing, time period. This is very specific. Okay, so it is date and time spans. Sorry, spans during which operations should or shouldn't be specified, shouldn't be performed. So for example, here I might tell weekday, every weekday from 9 a.m. to 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Okay, so I can define time periods when my check should happen or shouldn't happen. Okay, so that is something which we basically call as time periods. Hosts and host groups, I'm not defining it because we have already written it, right? Host is a device. Okay, and when you group these devices based on some commonality, we call it as host groups, right? And services are different functionalities. Okay, so basically whenever we try to monitor some specific services, we would need to worry about different kinds of things. For example, I might be worrying about CPU usage, right? So let me write about services, various functionalities or resources to monitor on specific host. Okay, so for example, I might be monitoring CPU usage. I might be monitoring, okay, free disk space. I might be monitoring, okay, or I might be monitoring, okay, a web server. I might be monitoring a DB server. I might be monitoring an FTP server on which is running on some host. Okay, so services are basically the functionalities which you are trying to measure, which you are trying to measure. Okay, right, fine. Okay, right. Then we have contact and contact groups. They are very self-explanatory, right? So contact is basically people or group of people that should be notified. So if your email server is not working, then we might send a notification. We might want to send an information to all the email admins, right? Or all the Exchange server admins. So we try to store their information in Nagios as contacts or contact groups. Okay, right. Now notifications, right? Contact or contact group is just a information. It is like much like how you have people on your mobile phone. So these are basically your WhatsApp contacts or groups which you have on your machine, right? Notifications is, okay, we all know notifications these days. We are using mobile phones and we get a lot of them. Okay, so these define who should be notified of what. Okay, for example, all the errors related to your Linux servers host group, send it to Linux admins. All the errors related to Windows admins or Windows failures, send it to Windows admins. All the errors related to DB failures, send it to DB admins. So these notifications would basically try to define how we basically communicate, right? And to whom we want to communicate, on which kind of failure do we want to communicate, right? So, and then escalations, right? These escalations are extensions to notifications, right? So, for example, you have sent an notification to Linux admin saying that your disk space is less. Okay, even after 3 hours, you are not basically seeing any response. You are not seeing any response. Then basically what you would try to do is you would try to escalate that issue to their managers, and that can be done. Okay, so for example, okay, a critical server being down for more than 4 hours should alert, okay, IT management, so that they can track the issue. So am I clear on this? So whenever we work with Nagios, we work with object definitions. So the stuff which I've spoken over here are different kinds of objects. Command is an object which will basically try to tell what is the kind of check which you need to perform and what are its limits. So commands internally basically have a way so that you go and speak with plugins inside the commands. So when you're writing Nagios checks, you would not directly speak with plugins, you would indirectly speak to plugins via commands. Time periods will basically define when you want to perform these checks or when you don't want to perform these checks. Host and host groups are basically the servers or group of servers which have logically clubbed together to do some similar kinds of checks, right? Services are functionalities that are running on your servers, right? So something like web server, FTP server, database server, Active Directory server, and then it could be certain particular checks which you want to basically look at. Are you looking at CPU usage? Are you looking at basically you might be looking at the free disk space, you might be looking at RAM, free memory, right? You can go on and on, right? So there is one interesting benefit of Nagios, okay, so which I would try to speak right now. Okay, Nagios has a beneficial feature, okay, that is mature dependency system. Okay, before I speak about it, there is one question. Let me see if it is relevant. Okay, so what do I mean by actual plugin? See, plugin is a program or a script, okay, which will try to perform the check. Now, if you want to know what is the free disk space, Chetan, what would you do? Okay, so we would open our drive, okay, and then I might get into this PC and then I might be seeing that I have 29 GB over here, okay. But how would a program, how would an application know what is the free disk space? How would an application know what is the free disk space? Any answers? There might be some kind of a command that they need to execute, right? Do you agree with that? Yeah. There might be some kind of a Linux or a Windows command which we basically execute. Okay. When we execute, we get back the results. And once we get back the results, we need to find out whether it is okay or not, or good or bad, and all of that stuff, right? So to do this, basically what we would end up doing is we would end up writing some program around it, okay, some kind of a script around it which will try to basically get the free disk space, okay, and then to this program I would tell that, okay, now you basically try to check the free disk space. If the free disk space is less than 30 GB, that is warning. If the free disk space is less than 20 GB, that is failure for me. So a plugin is a program which Nagios speak to measure something, okay. So, and as I said that when we install Nagios, you would be basically getting a lot of plugins. These plugins are code or script that have been developed to do particular kinds of checks. Am I clear on this? Okay, you need not know the code, you should just know how to call it, okay, at a very specific stuff. Okay, how often do we have to write plugins? Very rarely, right? Because Nagios has been there from ages, And for majority of your use cases, you don't need to even write the plugins. There are a hell lot of plugins already available. Okay, right, sir. So shall I continue with dependency system? Sir, urban code deploy plugins are different, right? Urban code deploy plugins are for urban code, okay, which add the functionality to urban code. Nagios plugins are to basically do the checks. See, plugin concept is very simple, right? Plugin is an additional functionality that you are adding to your application. So for example, in Google Chrome, you would have a lot of plugins. Zoom meeting plugin. What will it do? Right? There is no need for you to go to Zoom URL every time you click somewhere and Zoom meeting starts. Yes or no, Kalyan? Okay. So plugin is an extended functionality which you're adding to an existing system. That is the way of making the stuff or life easier for you, right? Okay. So is there any library to find plugins? We will go through that, Jyotiranjan. Today we are not in a state to go to find plugins. We have to understand this concept and then we will try to look into what are the plugins that are available. Am I clear on this? Right? Okay, sir. Okay then. So now let me try to speak about a scenario. Okay, right. Fine. Okay, see guys, please, one request which I have is please stay in present. Don't think too much about future, saying that whether that will be done or this will be done or not. Try to understand the concept because we will go step by step. Okay, so all the topics will be covered. You can trust me on that, or I have given you the open link where you can go through everything. So you do need not worry about whether that is a case or this is a case and all of that stuff. Okay, right. So let us try to look at this. So you have some servers. Okay, so let me try to take. Okay, so this is this is your Nagios server. Okay, right, and then you have, I'm just writing some stuff. Okay, let me put it in this way. This is your FTP server. Okay, and this is something which I call it as Active Directory. Okay, so all of these three servers are basically present in one network. So what happens over here is, okay, this is your network connectivity. Okay, so this is your network cable, right? So this network, let us assume, okay, in reality is connected, okay, to generally a network switch. Okay, and now this switch is connected to a router. Okay, so some router, right? And this router is basically connected to one more router. Okay, generally if you look at your network, you would have loads and loads of stuffs in your organization. So let me call it as router 1 and let me call it as router 2. Okay, so this router is basically again connected to some kind of a network switch. Okay, so this is switch 2. Okay, right. And now to this switch 2, I have two servers. Okay, which are connected. I have a database server. Okay, let me write it on the top. DB server. Okay, and then I have some kind of a web server. Right. So to have a different stuff, I'll be using a different color. Okay, this is your network 2. Okay, fine. This is your network. This is your network, and your machines are connected to these networks. Am I clear on this? Okay, so this is how your network is organized. Okay, so consider this below network. Okay, right. So it would be MON6. Okay, right. Now let's assume the following router goes down. Okay, so for example, in this particular router is now. Okay, this particular router is down. Now from Nagios, basically, if this router is down, will my web server checks work? Okay, it will show as switch is failed, web server is failed, and DB server is also failed. Yes or no? Yeah, because there is no network connectivity. There is no network connectivity between them, right? So then generally it would end up showing, okay, what is it? DB server is down, web server is down, okay, switch 2 is down, and router 2 is down. Yes, in reality the failure is this. Okay, but actually it will try to tell that all of these are down. Yes or no? Okay, so but what Nagios tries to tell is, okay, in Nagios we can define, okay, that a particular service is dependent on other service. Okay, and if the other service fails, don't check the dependent services. Okay, so if router is down, there is no, you can try to tell that my web server check are dependent on my router checks, my web db server checks are dependent on my router checks, my switch checks are dependent on my router check. If router check has failed, don't try to test all of them. We know that they will not work. Okay, so am I clear on this? Right, sir? So we can basically do this. Okay, so I think I'll speak about this last couple of topics, and then we would basically try to uh, get into the next aspects of Nagios. So Nagios, okay, basically gives you very interesting stuff. Okay, offers a consistent system of macro definitions. Okay, so what are macro definitions? These are nothing but these are variables which can be reused. Okay, so that can be put into all object definitions. So for example, if you want to create some kind of reusability, then you can basically try to define a macro. So for example, if you want to use an IP address, okay, of the host to do all the remote checks, then what you can do is you can try to put that information, okay, into different states by using macros, right? So when we basically try to configure Nagios, then we will basically try to get into this macro stuff. So right now, even if you till the moment I show about macros, don't even worry about it, right? So the next thing, okay, this topic I'll speak again tomorrow when I start the class. Soft and hard states. Okay, soft and hard states. So what is this soft state and what is this hard state? Let us assume that, okay, let me go back to this image. Okay, sorry, not this one. Yeah, right. Now let me take the same image. Okay, so in the below, okay, below infrastructure, let's assume you want to restart web server. So what is that you want to do? You want to restart web server. Okay, so now when you restart web server, basically what happens, right? During that moment, your web server will be down when you restart. Yes or no? Let us assume that restart takes 5 minutes. For that 5 minutes, your basically let us not even take 5 minutes. Let us try to tell that it will take 1 minute. Okay, for that 1 minute, we might basically know that our server will be down. Yes or no? Okay, and during that 1 minute, your Nagios might end up sending hell lot of email notifications to the team saying that your web server is down. Yes or no? So, and sometimes it might be not a good idea because there might be random or temporary failures which get auto corrected. which get auto corrected. So what Nagios tries to tell is, okay, so Nagios, okay, works by checking if a particular service or host is working correctly by storing the status. This is something which it will try to store the status. Okay, so which might be in one of four value. Which might be in one of four value, right? So in order to avoid detecting, okay, random or temporary failures, Nagios uses soft and hard states. Hard state means permanent failure. Soft state means temporary failure. Okay. So now when you restart your web server, okay. So let us assume restarting web server makes web pages inaccessible for 10 seconds. Okay. So now this is what is happening. Okay. So during this time, okay, the problem could be you might get loads of alerts, right? But let us see what Nagios can do for you. Okay. So when the previous state before we did the check was, okay, of a check is unknown, okay, or different from the current result. Current result, Nagios will not immediately change the state. Nagios will assume, okay, new state. Okay, so Nagios will assume soft state is new result, and it will try to, okay, redo the check to ensure that the new result state is permanent. Okay, this permanent state is hard state. Okay, hard state. So whenever your Nagios tries to basically check, okay, whether if there is some failure, right, it will not immediately try to tell that everything is down. You can configure Nagios. Okay, you can configure Nagios to try to tell that do the check again to identify if the status change is permanent or is it temporary. Okay, so temporary state changes are considered as soft states and permanent state changes are considered as hard states. So am I clear on soft and hard? Soft means whenever there is a difference between the previous state and the current state. Okay, whenever there is a different state between previous state and current state, right? So whenever the state changes, how many times do you need to do the checks? That is something which we can obviously configure. Using the object definition of Nagios, right? So right, so we should put it in maintenance mode during when we are reboots. Yes, you are right. Okay, so when we will have the practical session of all of this from tomorrow itself. Okay, so I'll be doing it in the class. When you do the practice is something which you have to sort it out, right? So before we do the practical session, we need to understand these concepts, right? And that is what we are trying to understand today, Saujanya. Am I clear on this? Right? So we will have soft states and hard states. Soft state and hard state. Soft state is generally temporary in nature. Hard state means something which is serious in nature. Clear on this? Right? Good. So see, basically you have asked me to reconfigure on this. See, if the router is failed, okay, Nagios, when it tries to speak with DB server, will it not be failed, Chetan? When the router is failed over here, okay, will Nagios be able to communicate with the DB server? Yes or no? Please try to answer my question. No. So DB server checks also will fail, right? Okay. So in Nagios, what you can do is you can configure dependency saying that when router is failed, it is known that switch 2 will fail, right? When router is failed, DB server also will be failed. When router is failed, web server also will be failed. Okay. So whenever you are defining Nagios object definitions, what you can try to tell is my DB server checks are dependent on router. My DB server checks are dependent on router 2 checks. If router 2 checks fails, my DB server also will fail. My DB server also will fail. So if router 2 fails, don't try to do the checks of DB server because we know that it is going to fail. Okay, that is dependency over here. That is dependency over here. Yeah. So initially it is a soft state, but eventually it will end up becoming a hard state, right? If it is down, if you are restarting, yeah, then it will come back to normal. Okay. Do we have any solutions to resolve the see, the solution is what your IT admin does, right? So your router is down. If it is a hardware failure, you have to replace the router, right? So here we are not trying to resolve issues. We are trying to inform or notify issues, right? Okay. Right, sir. Right. Okay. So can we check the application logs to check there? That see that you can do everything which you want, but Nagios is not right now. Whatever Nagios which you are speaking about is not to try to tell you the solution of the problem. It is try to tell you whether the problem is present or not. Am I clear on this? You can check the application logs, but Nagios will not check it for you. Am I clear on that, Sham? Right, sir. Okay, here we are not trying to resolve. We are not trying to resolve the issues. If you remember yesterday, we have said that first initially we'll manually do the checks and then we'll go with the reactive mechanism. When something fails, we'll inform. So right now we are in that reactive state. Okay, when something is going wrong, we are informing the right set of people, and it is left to the intelligence of right set of people to resolve these issues for us. Okay, right, sir. I'll stop it at that, and we'll continue this discussion tomorrow.
Thanks for watching. For more videos, subscribe our channel and click on bell icon.